Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama, Rama
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
So, would somebody like to read?
I can read?
Yes, please.
Yeah. The position of Ishvara, the Supreme Lord, is that of supreme consciousness. The jivas, or the living entities, being parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, are also conscious. Both the living entity and material nature are explained as Prakriti, the energy of the Supreme Lord. But one of the two, the jiva, is conscious. The other Prakriti is not conscious. That is the difference. Therefore, the jiva Prakriti is called superior because the jiva has consciousness which is similar to the Lord's. The Lord's supreme consciousness, however, and one should not claim that the jiva, the living entity, is also the supreme conscious. The living being cannot be supremely conscious at any stage of his perfection, and the theory that he can be so is a misleading theory. Conscious he may be, but he is not perfectly or supremely conscious.
This is the point we need to understand because we might have the misconception, oh, right now I'm inside the material body, so I'm not supremely conscious. But after I get liberated, I'm going to become supremely conscious. I'm going to merge into the light of the Supreme Lord. And at that time, I'm going to become supremely conscious. But it's never going to happen because we are minute. That's who we are. And if we think we are going to change to become something, not happening. Why? Because we are spiritual. There's no change. We are eternal. It can't be killed. So our consciousness is always individual consciousness. It can never think of being someone else. We are always thinking, I am here, I am doing this, I am that. And that's how it's going to continue. Only in the liberated stage it is, I am an eternal servant of Krishna. As we say, Jivera Swarupai Krishna Nityadas. But it's not that we are going to, at any time, actually become supremely conscious. Then that's just a mental concoction, not not a reality, not in truth.
Okay, okay. The distinction between the jiva and the Ishvara will be explained in the 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The Lord is Kshetrajanya, conscious, as is the living being, but the living being is conscious of his particular body, whereas the Lord is conscious of all bodies. Because he lives in the heart of every living being, he is conscious at the psychic movements of the particular jiva. We should not forget this. It is also explained that the Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is living in everyone's heart as Ishvara, as a controller, and that he is giving directions for the living entity to act as he desires. The living entity forgets what to do. First of all, he makes a determination to act in a certain way, and then he is engaged in in the actions and reactions of his own karma. After giving up one type of body, he enters another type of body as we put on and take off clothes. As the soul thus migrates, he suffers the actions and reactions of his past activities. These activities can be changed when the living being is in the mood of goodness, insanity, and understands what sort of activities he should adopt. If he does so, then all the actions and reactions of his past activities can be changed. Consequently, karma is not eternal. Therefore we stated that of the five items, Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, time, and karma, four are eternal, whereas karma is not eternal.
So what are we trying to understand here? Would anyone like to say? What did you get out of? I mean,
Like, yeah, earlier, like you said that karma is not like you said karma changes, so it's not eternal.
that's
And
yes.
the karma can be changed, yeah. That's what I could understand from this.
Okay, thank you. What else? Anyone? Anyone else?
And that Lord lives in he resides in us,
Yeah,
in the heart of
Yes.
every living being.
Yeah. He's the
yes,
Paramatma and yes.
yes, God lives in us. Whatever we do, all the actions and reactions, these are coming from the God itself, based on our karmas and actions that we did and whatever we are doing. And so, and it also states, out of the five items, karma can be changed, and other four items are still eternal. So
Yeah.
I think
So what happens is, so inside our body, how many souls are there?
One super soul, I mean our soul, and the jiva. No.
I think we are the jivas.
Mhm. So how many are there inside this material body, inside each
Only
of us? Hmm?
maybe one. I think it's one.
So that's right, the soul and the super soul. There are two of us inside this body. The
Hmm.
soul is there, that's us. And right next to us, the super soul is also sitting, the Paramatma. So there are
Hmm.
two. So we are all individual souls, whoever we are all individual souls now. So that many souls are there. So now how many super souls are there? See, we are six of us. So we are six souls over here in this meeting. And how many super souls?
One.
That's right. Thank you. The super soul is one. He's not divided, although he appears to be divided. The example is given as the sun. Wherever we go, we say the sun is on my head, wherever we go. But it's not that there are so many suns, right? The sun is divided to be on all of our heads. No, it's the same sun. Similarly, the super soul is one. He's there in all our heart. He is conscious of what we are thinking, of conscious of us, but we can't be conscious of each other. No, sure, we can be empathetic. We try to be empathetic to others, but conscious, no, we can be conscious only of ourselves, only of our body. And then, so what is he doing inside the heart? He's the controller. Paramatma is the controller. And he is giving directions for the living entity to act as he desires. You see, what is the soul doing inside the body? We say all the actions are doing by the senses. The eyes are seeing, the tongue is talking, the ears are hearing, the hands and legs are doing the work. But what the soul is doing inside in the body, what are we doing?
It is giving Chetna,
I'm
consciousness.
sorry?
It's
Huh?
giving consciousness to our body.
Yeah, the soul is giving consciousness. That's right. Yeah, he is. But what is he doing is he's only desires. We just are desiring. We have all these desires. And then these desires are fulfilled by the Paramatma. We are thinking we are doing everything, but actually everything is being arranged by the Paramatma. We only desire. How to execute it, that's being arranged by Paramatma. So we don't even realize, Bhagavatam states that how even the different movements of our eyes, blinking the eyes, lifting the hands, walking, everything is under the control of the demigod. We get the desire, the Paramatma sanctions it, the demigods get the signal, and then they arrange. Or can blink the eyes, can move. That's why so many of us, we may have the full body, but it can't function. How is it that? It's because everything's happening under the direction of the Paramatma. He's the controller. And the demigods and the living, the material energy, they are the facilitator. Yeah, so is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So of course, in Bhagavatam is there in more detail. So, and then of course we are taking one body and giving up another. After our karma in a particular body is finished, we have to give it up whether we like it or no. We take up another body, and at that point we forget everything. But the Paramatma in the heart reminds us, hey, you wanted to act in this way. And that's how we continue acting. So now, because karma can be changed, if we take the good advice, the instructions of Bhagavad Gita, and make choices based on the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, then we can get out of this material world. Yeah, if he does so, then all the actions and reactions of his past activities can be changed. So we'll continue to read.
The supreme conscious, Ishvara, is similar to the living entity in this way. Both the consciousness of the Lord and that of the living entity are transcendental. It is not that consciousness is generated by the association of matter. That is a mistaken idea. The theory that consciousness develops under certain circumstances of material combination is not accepted in Bhagavad Gita. Consciousness may be pervertedly reflected by the covering of material circumstances. Just as light reflected through colored glass may appear to be a certain color, but the consciousness of the Lord is not materially affected. Lord Krishna says, Mayadhyakasena Prakriti. When he descends into the material universe, his consciousness is not materially affected. If he were so affected, he would be unfit to speak on transcendental matters, as he does in the Bhagavad Gita. One cannot say anything about the transcendental world without being free from materially contaminated consciousness. So the Lord is not materially contaminated. Our consciousness at the present moment, however, is materially contaminated. The Bhagavad Gita teaches that we have to purify this materially contaminated consciousness. In pure consciousness, our actions will be dovetailed to the will of Ishvara, and that will make us happy. It is not that we have to cease all activities. Rather, our activities are to be purified, and purified activities are called bhakti. Actually, in bhakti, activities in bhakti appear to be like ordinary activities, but they are not contaminated. An ignorant person may see that a devotee is acting or working like an ordinary man, but such a person with a poor fund of knowledge does not know that the activities of the devotee or of the Lord are not contaminated by impure consciousness or matter. They are transcendental to the three modes of nature. We should know, however, that at this point our consciousness is contaminated.
So consciousness of the Lord and of us. We are also conscious. The Lord is conscious. Our original consciousness is transcendental because we are, after all, pure spirit souls. But right now it's contaminated. Right now we are thinking we are the body. And that thinking, that is material consciousness. That's not supposed to be there. As spirit souls, we are supposed to be living in our own spiritual identity. And now we are living in a material identity, thinking, I am the body. Also thinking that, consciousness, that, okay, that there was nothing, and then from matter comes consciousness. That's not happening. That's not a correct way that's not the truth. Otherwise, we can put together some chemicals in the laboratory and try to create a living entity. It's never going to happen. Life comes from life. Life does not come from matter. Because we may have the idea that life is coming from matter at some point of evolution. But no, it's not that life is created because there's certain chemicals, combination of some chemicals, and then that's how life is there. No, life is there coming from life. We are eternally the Jivatmas, and we are put here in this universe by the Supreme Lord. So, but okay, so when we are here in the material world, our consciousness is contaminated. We are thinking that we are the body. What about Krishna? When he comes to the material world, what's his consciousness?
No, he is not
Transcendental.
affected. He is not contaminated.
That's right.
Transcendental.
He's never, his consciousness is never on the material platform. He never thinks I am a material body. No, he is always conscious of his position. Always. Prabhupada is saying if he was materially contaminated, how would he be able to give us this Bhagavad Gita, this transcendental knowledge? The knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is spiritual. It's not of this world. It's not to do with the body. It's to do with the soul. So, so that because some people say, oh, Krishna, when he came to the material world, even he was in material consciousness, maybe he's in the mode of goodness. No, no way. Krishna is never under the modes of nature. If he was under the modes of nature, then we don't need to listen to this Bhagavad Gita. How is it going to help us then? Because whoever is on the material platform, we are sure to commit mistakes. We are going to read about it further. Krishna is always transcendental. Always. That's how he's able to give us this transcendental knowledge. And by hearing this transcendental knowledge, we can also come back to our original consciousness. That's what is needed. It's needed for us. You know, like when a cloth becomes dirty, we have to clean it, wash it. Similarly, now our consciousness has become polluted. We simply have to clean it by hearing the message of Bhagavad Gita, by chanting Hare Krishna. It's easily it can be done. Okay. So you continue reading.
Yeah. When we are materially contaminated, we are called conditioned. False consciousness is exhibited under the impression that I am a product of material nature. This is called false ego. One who is absorbed in the thought of bodily conceptions cannot understand his situation. Bhagavad Gita was spoken to liberate one from the bodily conception of life, and Arjuna put himself in this position in order to receive this information from the Lord. One must become free from the bodily conception of life. That is the preliminary activity for the transcendentalist. One who wants to become free, who wants to become liberated, must first all learn that he is not this material body. Mukti or liberation means freedom from material consciousness. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, also the definition of liberation is given. Muktir it vanyatha rupam swarupena. Vyaswati Mukti means liberation from the contaminated consciousness of this material world and situation in pure consciousness. All the instructions of Bhagavad Gita are intended to awaken this pure consciousness. And therefore, we find at the last stage of the Gita's instructions that Krishna is asking Arjuna whether he is now in purified consciousness. Purified consciousness means acting in accordance with the instructions of the Lord. This is the whole sum and substance of purified consciousness. Consciousness is already there because we are part and parcel of the Lord. But for us, there is the affinity of being affected by the inferior modes. But the Lord, being the Supreme, is never affected. That is the difference between the Supreme Lord and the small individual souls.
Hmm. So what is the difference between the Supreme Lord and us, the souls? Small individual souls.
Lord is never affected by the three modes of nature or any material energy.
Yes, thank you. And what's our position?
Our position.
We get affected.
Yes.
The Lord never gets affected, but we get affected. Yes, thank you. Now, why are we conscious? Why is every living entity conscious?
Because we are affected by the inferior modes, by the
No, I mean to say, why is a jiva conscious? We said that jivatma is also conscious. So why are we conscious?
हम अंश हैं प्रभु के, परमात्मा के.
Yes, thank you.
Mm.
Yeah, because we are part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is supremely conscious. Because Krishna is conscious, we are part and parcel of him, so we are conscious. Yes. Okay. And then, as we said, that Prabhupada is pointing out that all the instructions of Gita are to awaken our pure consciousness, to bring us to the liberated platform. Hey, I'm not the body, I'm eternal part and parcel of Krishna, eternal servant of Krishna. That's why Krishna says, 1866, that abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I will relieve you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. That is the conclusion Krishna is giving after speaking the Bhagavad Gita. Abandon all varieties of religion, just surrender unto me. He wants us to come to the platform that Jivera Swarup hai, Krishna Nitya Das. Lord Chaitanya begins his teachings with this instruction, and Krishna is finishing Bhagavad Gita with this. So that's the aim of the Bhagavad Gita, to bring us on our transcendental position. And that's liberation, coming to the platform of the soul. That's our true position. Continue to read.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone wants to read.
Hare Krishna. Okay. What is this consciousness? From there, no? Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
What is this consciousness? This consciousness is I am. Then what am I? In contaminated consciousness, I am means I am the Lord of all I survey. I am the enjoyer. The world revolves because every living being thinks that he is the Lord and creator of the material world. Material consciousness has two psychic divisions. One is that I am the creator, and the other is that I am the enjoyer. But actually, the Supreme Lord is both the creator and the enjoyer. And the living entity, being part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, is neither the creator nor the enjoyer, but a cooperator. He is the created and the enjoyed. For instance, a part of a machine cooperates with the whole machine. A part of the body cooperates with the whole body. The hands, legs, eyes, and so on are all parts of the body, but they are not actually the enjoyers. The stomach is the enjoyer. The legs move, and hence supply food. The teeth chew, and all parts of the body are engaged in satisfying the stomach because the stomach is the principal factor that nourishes the body's organization. Therefore, everything is given to the stomach. One nourishes the tree by watering its root, and one nourishes the body by feeding the stomach. For if the body is to be kept in a healthy state, then the parts of the body must cooperate to feed the stomach. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is the enjoyer and the creator, and we, as subordinate living beings, are meant to cooperate to satisfy him. This cooperation will actually help us, just as food taken by the stomach will help all other parts of the body. If the fingers of the hand think that they should take the food themselves instead of giving it to the stomach, then they will be frustrated. The central trigger of the creation and of enjoyment is the Supreme Lord, and the living entities are cooperators. By cooperation, they enjoy. The relation is also like that of the master and of the servant. If the master is fully satisfied, then the servant is satisfied. Similarly, the Supreme Lord should be satisfied. Although the tendency to become the creator and the tendency to enjoy the material world are there also in the living entities, because these tendencies are there in the Supreme Lord who has created the manifested cosmic world.
Yeah, so Prabhupada is trying to explain to us what is the consciousness? Here, I marked it in blue if you're able to see the screen. Consciousness is I am. And what is the material consciousness?
I'm the enjoyer.
Yeah, I'm the enjoyer. That's right. I'm the controller. I'm the proprietor. All this is material consciousness. That's the Lord's position. That's Krishna's position. But we are saying, no, I'm the one. I'm the creator. I'm the enjoyer. Everything belongs to me. Whatever I'm seeing, it should be for my enjoyment. Not should be, it is for my enjoyment, we say. That is why we are here in the material world. Because we have a desire to become Krishna, to become God, to become and envy. Krishna himself says in the Bhagavad Gita that all the living entities are put here in the material world due to desire and envy. We may say, no way, I'm not envious. How can we say that we are envious of God? No way, I don't want to be. But how are we acting? What are we acting? What are we thinking? We may not verbally say such things, but our actions, our consciousness is such. We may not even realize what's our consciousness if we have not analyzed it, but that's what it is. So we are trying to enjoy individually, make ourselves happy. But the way really we can enjoy is if we can cooperate with Krishna. It's something like this, there's a movie director, and then there are so many actors. And the director is telling the actor, you act in this way, this way, this way. But then each actor starts saying, hey, why should I listen to you, my dear director? I'm going to do whatever I like. I will act in a way what I want to do. And then if each individual actor says that, where's the movie? And they're not going to get famous. The movie is not going to be released. Nobody's going to get their pay. But if everyone cooperates with the director, the movie is going to be made nicely. Everyone will get paid. Everyone will get famous. You see, does that make sense? Can you all relate to that?
Yes.
Yeah. So same way here, each of us is trying to say, hey, I'm the director. Why should I listen to Krishna? And then that's the reason there is so much chaos. Here, Prabhupada is giving us the example that the food has to be put in the stomach, and then the full body will be nourished. Entire body will be nourished. So the hands, the legs, the mouth, everyone is cooperating to put the food in the stomach. And then everyone is enjoying. The full body is healthy and happy. But if the fingers, they say, no, we are going to eat food ourselves, what? A finger can't, what? We are going to apply the nice hummus paste, and there's nothing going to happen. No nourishment. Still hungry, and the hand will wither away instead. Similarly, when we serve the Lord, when we try to please the Lord, then automatically we will be pleased. It's natural, it's automatic. That's the way it is. Like watering the root of the tree, automatically the water goes on all the branches and leaves. You don't have to say why, what. That's how it is. Imagine if we have to water each and every leaf. The whole tree will die though. So our enjoyment is when we can enjoy in relation to Krishna, when we can be situated in this loving service to Krishna. Is that okay? Are there any questions or comments at this point? No? Then we can continue to read.
We shall find, therefore, in this Bhagavad Gita,
Yes, Yogita, we can't hear you anymore.
we shall find, therefore, in this Bhagavad Gita, that the complete whole is comprised of the supreme controller, the controlled living entities, the cosmic manifestation, eternal time and karma or activities, and all of these are explained in this text. All of these taken completely from the complete whole, and the complete whole is called the supreme absolute truth. The complete whole and the complete absolute truth are the complete personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. All manifestations are due to his different entities. He is the complete whole.
So this is Isopanishad. This is the invocation, Om Purnamada Purnamidam. If we read the Isopanishad, there's the invocation. This invocation is there in many, many scriptures, in fact. That the complete whole, the supreme controller, he is creating all these other complete wholes because we see our planet is fully self-sufficient. We don't need to import air or we don't need to import rain. We are getting everything. Whatever scarcity we find is because of the misuse of the resources by human beings. But the Supreme Lord, He's creating the complete wholes. So the complete whole and the complete absolute truth are the complete personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. Everything and anything belongs to Krishna. There is nothing or no one that does not belong to Krishna. This is the complete whole. Continue reading.
It is also explained in the Gita that impersonal Brahman is also subordinate to the complete Supreme Person. Brahmano hi pratisthaham. Brahman is more explicitly explained in the Brahma Sutra to be like the rays of the sunshine. The impersonal Brahman is the shining rays of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Impersonal Brahman is in complete realization of the absolute truth, and so also is the conception of Paramatma. In the 15th chapter, it shall be seen that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Purushottama, is above both impersonal Brahman and the partial realization of Paramatma. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Satchit Ananda Vigraha. The Brahma Samhita begins in this way. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidanand Vigra Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Govinda Krishna is the cause of all causes. He is the primal cause. And he is the very form of eternity, knowledge and bliss. Impersonal Brahman realization is the realization of his Sat, eternity feature. Paramatma realization is the realization of Sat Chit, eternal knowledge. But realization of the personality of Godhead Krishna is realization of the transcendental features Sat Chit and Ananda, eternity, knowledge and bliss, in complete Vigraha form. People with less intelligence.
So let's speak a little bit. Let's try to see what do we understand from this verse. Would anyone like to say?
Paramatma,
Yes, yes.
Lord Sri Krishna is explained here as Satchit Anand. He is the Supreme Person, and when he comes as Paramatma, Bhagavan, and this, sorry, Bhagavan, Paramatma, Bhagavan, and the third feature is, what is the third feature?
The Brahman feature.
Brahman, right. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So when he comes as a Brahman, it is like an array of sun, And when he is Paramatma, he comes as four-handed form like Vishnu. And when he is Bhagavan, he is two-handed Sham Sundar form. So it's like Satchit Anand form.
Yes, that's right. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, the original form of God, God is a person. God is a person, and he has this transcendental form. And then, what do we explain is the Brahma Jyoti, the light. This light is coming from his body. That's the Brahman. That's the light which is coming from his body. And as you said, the Paramatma feature is his feature, Paramatma, Krishna's Paramatma feature by which he is pervading this entire universe, the material world. He's entered into each and every atom of the universe as Paramatma. He's also sitting in our heart as Paramatma. That's how he's pervading everywhere. Yeah. So the complete realization of God is that he's a person, and the Brahman or the Brahma Jyoti is the light coming from his body, and Paramatma is a feature by which he is pervading everywhere, omnipresent. No, we say God is omnipresent. That's how he's omnipresent, by his Paramatma feature. So when we understand that, when our realization of God is that God is light, so that's not wrong, but it's not complete realization. It is a, uh, what do we say? It is partial realization, because till then we have realized only the Sat feature, that God is eternal. And then when we realize that, oh, God is not only the light, but he's also Paramatma, then we have realized the Sat and Chit, knowledge also, eternal and knowledge. But when we realize, oh, God is a person, he's a person, he's an individual, then that is complete understanding of God, Sat Chit Ananda. Then we are also understanding the bliss portion. Yeah, because when we understand that God is a person, that there is reciprocation with the Lord, then there is a relationship with the Lord, and that's completely blissful. Nothing to do with the material world, not on the material platform. We continue reading.
People with less intelligence consider the Supreme Truth to be impersonal, but he is a transcendental person, and this is confirmed in all with Vedic literature. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam, Katha Upanishad. As we are all individual living beings and have our individuality, the Supreme Absolute Truth is also in the ultimate issue a person, and realization of the personality of Godhead is realization of all the transcendental features in his complete form. The complete whole is not formless. If he is formless, or if he is less than any other thing, then he cannot be complete whole. The complete whole must have everything within our experience and beyond our experience. Otherwise, it cannot be complete.
Does that make sense? Because we might say, oh, the Supreme Absolute Truth, he's the complete whole, and he's formless. If we say that, but we have a form right now, then how can we have something that the complete whole does not have? Then there is no meaning to the word complete whole. How can it be possible? So it's not true. The complete whole has a form. He has a form, and his form is transcendental, not material. That is complete realization of God, of absolute truth. That the absolute truth, he is a person, and his form is transcendental. Because I mean, something to think about, no? How can we have something that God does not? That means we are saying, that means then I become greater than God, is it? But that's not true. In no way can we become greater than God. So he has a form, a spiritual form.
The complete whole, the personality of Godhead, has immense potencies. Parashriya Shaktir Vividya Vivaya Suryavate. How Krishna is acting in different potencies is also explained in Bhagavad Gita. This phenomenal world or material world in which we are placed is also complete in itself because the 24 elements of which this material universe is a temporary manifestation, according to Sankhya philosophy, are completely adjusted to produce complete resources which are necessary for the maintenance and subsistence of this universe. There is nothing extraneous, nor is there anything needed. This manifestation has its own time fixed by the energy of the Supreme Whole, and when its time is complete, this temporary manifestation will be annihilated by the complete arrangement of the complete. There is complete facility for the small complete unit, namely the living entities, to realize the complete, and all sorts of incompleteness are experienced due to incomplete knowledge of the complete. So Bhagavad Gita contains the complete knowledge of Vedic wisdom.
So Krishna, he's the complete whole. And something to realize, something that we need to understand, it's not that that God is light, and then from this light he's taken a form of Krishna. No, no. Original form of God is Krishna. He's a person. And the light is coming from his body, just as the sun planet is there, and the sunshine is coming from the sun planet. That's the way we are. That's the truth, and that's how all the Vedas, the scriptures, explain this to us. And Krishna, we say God is omnipotent. God is omnipotent. So Krishna has these amazing, amazing potencies. He has the spiritual energy, the material energy, the Jivatma, the marginal energy, has amazing energies, and that's how he's creating, maintaining, and highlighting the entire world. And he's complete in himself. He's creating this complete universes. Then even we living entities, our body is completely uh, fit for its use. Prabhupada is pointing out all incompleteness is due to our incomplete knowledge. That's all. So what's lacking is our knowledge. Not that Krishna has made anything incomplete. And by studying the Bhagavad Gita, then we can get this complete knowledge, the ultimate knowledge.
All Vedic knowledge is infallible, and Hindus accept Vedic knowledge to be complete and infallible. For example, cow dung is the stool of an animal, and according to Smriti or Vedic injections, if one touches the stool of an animal, he has to take bath to purify himself. But in the Vedic scriptures, cow dung is considered to be the purifying agent. One might consider this to be contradictory, but it is accepted because it is Vedic injection, and indeed by accepting this, one will not commit a mistake. Subsequently, it has been proved by modern science that cow dung contain all the antiseptic properties. So Vedic knowledge is complete because it is above all doubt and mistakes, and Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Vedic knowledge.
So what is Prabhupada pointing out to as to the position of Vedic knowledge? That it is, the Vedic knowledge is
Infallible.
infallible. That's right. Thank you.
Never
Yes.
fails.
And it's complete. And what's the example Prabhupada is giving to prove this point?
Cow dung.
Yes. Yes. And usually the Vedas, they state that if we touch the stool of an animal, we have to bathe. But with cow dung, we are using it to put it, at least before traditionally. Cow dung is antiseptic, used for so many purposes, for cooking, for, putting in the house, uh, like on the flooring. It's like great antiseptic. agent. So it's contradictory, no? Here, Vedas are saying when you touch the stool of an animal, you have to shower. But here it's saying, no, the stool of the cow is very, very pure. But scientifically, it has been proven. Yes, it is really pure. So we can see that the Vedic knowledge is complete knowledge. There are no doubts and mistakes in the Vedic knowledge. And Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all Vedic knowledge.
Vedic knowledge is not a question of research. Our research work is imperfect because we are researching things with imperfect senses. We have to accept perfect knowledge which comes down, as it is stated in Bhagavad Gita, by the parampara, disciplic succession. We have to receive knowledge from the proper source in disciplic succession, beginning with the supreme spiritual master, the Lord himself, and handed down to a succession of spiritual masters. Arjuna, the student who took lessons from Lord Sri Krishna, accepts everything that he says without contradicting him. One is not allowed to accept one portion of Bhagavad Gita and not another. No, we must accept Bhagavad Gita without interpretations, without deletions, and without our own whimsical participation in the matter. The Gita should be taken as the most perfect presentation of Vedic knowledge. Vedic knowledge is received from transcendental sources, and the first word was spoken by the Lord himself. The words spoken by the Lord are called Apurusheya, meaning that they are different from words spoken by a person of the mundane world who is infected with the four defects. A mundaner is sure to commit mistakes, is invariably illusioned, has the tendency to cheat others, and is limited by imperfect senses. With these four imperfections, one cannot deliver perfect information of all pervading knowledge.
So, Prabhupada is pointing us the importance of receiving knowledge from the proper source. And why? Why is it uh, necessary to receive the knowledge from proper source? What are the four imperfections each of us have in this material world?
That we commit mistakes, we are
Yeah.
we have tendency to cheat,
Yes.
and in illusion. We are all the time in illusion, thinking that
Yes.
whatever it is real, which is not. And
Yes.
our senses are, of course, limited. We cannot see beyond whatever seen with our eyes. That is not enough. But there are many things which are not seen by our imperfect eyes or senses.
Yes, that's right. Thank you. So then, with these defects, uh, with these defects, if we are going to try to create our own knowledge, for sure it's going to be defective. For sure, because we ourselves are imperfect. So if we create something, it's going to be imperfect. And that's the reason the importance is given that we need to hear this transcendental knowledge, the perfect knowledge has to be heard. And this knowledge we need to receive. Why we need to receive in the disciplic succession? Because again, we are imperfect. We have these defects. If we are going to hear from someone else, then that person also has these defects. But the disciplic succession is beginning from Krishna himself. It's Krishna himself who's giving this transcendental knowledge, the perfect knowledge. And Krishna is giving it to Brahmaji. Well, of course, there are four sampradayas. I can just speak of ours. Brahmaji, then to Narad, Vyasadev, Madhvacharya, like that. It's coming from one spiritual master to another, one disciple to another. And this is how we are receiving the knowledge in the disciplic succession. So we are receiving the perfect knowledge as it is originally spoken. So there is no defect in that knowledge then, when we hear it in the parampara. And Prabhupada gives one very important point here. That, usually we may say, oh, I like this verse of Bhagavad Gita, so I'm going to accept this, but I don't like this one. So I'm not going to accept this verse. But that's not the way we can accept Bhagavad Gita. And Prabhupada would give an example that, oh, I don't like the mouth of the chicken because I always have to feed it, but I like the back part of the hen. I don't like the mouth of the hen because I have to feed it. I like the back portion because that's where I get the eggs from. So let me cut off the head, no head, so no need to feed, and I will just get the eggs. But are we going to have any chicken, any hen like this? No, there is no hen if we just take the back portion. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita, we have to accept all the 700 verses. That's how we study the Bhagavad Gita. Not that I accept only one verse or I accept this portion of Bhagavad Gita and I disregard this portion. Then we have no Bhagavad Gita. Without interpretation, without deletion, without our own whimsical participation in the matter. So we need to receive the original knowledge, the transcendental knowledge, as it is. Yeah.
Vedic knowledge is not imparted by such defective living entities. It was imparted unto the heart of Brahma, the first created living being, and Brahma in his turn disseminated this knowledge to his sons and disciples, as he originally received it from the Lord. The Lord is Purnam, all perfect, and there is no possibility of his being subjected to the laws of material nature. One should therefore be intelligent enough to know that the Lord is only proprietor of everything in the universe and that he is the original creator, the creator of Brahma. In the 11th chapter, the Lord is addressed as Prapitama, because Brahma is addressed as Pitama, the grandfather, and he is the creator of the grandfather. So no one should claim to be the proprietor of anything. One should accept only things set aside for him by the Lord as his quota for his maintenance.
This is also Prabhupada has put here from the Sri Upanishad. Sri Upanishad says that we should not claim that we are the proprietors. Sure, we need certain things. We are here in the material world. We need things for our maintenance. We take whatever we need. Ant will take how much ever the ant needs. The elephant will take how much ever the elephant needs. Similarly, we have our needs. So we should take whatever we need for our maintenance. Take our own quota. Don't take others' quota. That's what his Upanishad says. And then the Vedic knowledge, initially, as we heard in Bhagavatam, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaya, Krishna spoke this Vedic knowledge to Brahma in his heart. And Brahmaji, of course, gave it to Narad, Vyasadev. That's how it's coming. It's coming. This perfect knowledge is coming to us. And then Prabhupada is pointing out that we are thinking we are the proprietor, but the only proprietor is the Supreme Lord. He's the proprietor, he's the creator. In Lord Brahma, he is saying, Govindam Adi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. So Lord Brahma creates this universe, but he himself is saying that he is created by Krishna. Govindam Adi Purusham Tam Aham Bhajami. Oh Govinda, you are my original seed-giving father.
In this world, men are not meant for quarreling.
Sorry, Yogi. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Shall we stop here? Because, sorry, you're saying something? You wanted to say something?
No, I was
Oh,
reading.
are you reading?
Yeah.
No. So then let's stop here because the time is up. But if someone had any question or any comment, we could discuss that for a few minutes.
I want to ask that in Vedic knowledge, in the Vedas, the Karam Kand is explained. And they say that we should not go for reading. We should not spend our time reading Vedas because everything we find in Bhagavad Gita, that is sufficient. In Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita, we have everything, all the answers. So, what is Vedic knowledge? That is Vedas, reading the Vedas.
Yeah. So what happens is Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Vedascha sarver aham eva vedya. Vedantakrit Vedavid. Okay, so Krishna is saying, what is the goal of reading the Vedas? Vedas is knowledge, right? What are we going to get to understand that
Vedas.
Krishna is the Supreme Lord?
Mm,
All this is Vedic knowledge we are hearing. Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, it's all Vedic knowledge.
yeah.
Bhagavatam is the cream of the essence of the Vedas. So we are hearing the Vedas, Sri Upanishad, all this we are hearing is Vedic knowledge. Yes, what we are being told is don't get caught up in the flowery language. Don't get caught up in the section which is dealing with karmaka. Why? Because that, if we get distracted by that and we start doing the rituals just for the sake of going to the heavenly planets, then sure, we will go to the heavenly planet, but we'll still remain in the material world. And after the karma is finished, again, we will be either taking bodies of animals or coming back to the earth as a human body. It's like, we are in a jail cell. Okay, then to get promoted to a jail cell in which you have a nice bed and a TV and a carpet, or getting demoted to a jail cell where you have to sleep on the floor. But it's the jail after all. Even if we get promoted to a jail which has TV and a bed and a nice carpet and, Netflix or whatever. So, but it's still the jail. That's why we are encouraged not to get caught up in the rituals which will take us to the heavenly planets. What we are encouraged is take up the path of bhakti so that we can get out of this material world completely, go back home, back to Godhead. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Does that clear your doubt?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I thought that Vedas are to read only these Karma Kand and all, but
Yeah,
all the
everything
knowledge
is the
is
Vedic. Everything is
yeah.
coming in the Vedic knowledge. It's like, but what part do you want to take? It's like a buffet. What do you want to eat in the buffet? All knowledge comes from Vedas.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Now I
All
got
the
it.
knowledge is coming from the Vedas. There is a section of Karmakand, there is a section of Gyan, there is a section of Bhakti. Everything is coming in the Vedas. What section do you want to get into?
Mm.
Yeah, so Krishna is saying, don't get caught up in the section which is dealing with all this Karmakand.
Mm.
Get into the section which is dealing with Bhakti.
Yeah.
Hmm? So the cream of the essence of the Vedas is Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
Because Vedas are so vast. We are Kalyug people. We do not have so much time to read all the Rig, Yajur, Atharva, Sam. We don't even have the mental capability to read them anymore.
Yeah.
We do not have the perfect way to chant those mantras. And so Krishna is saying, you take up bhakti immediately because you don't have much time. Lord Chaitanya came, he said, you chant the Hare Krishna mantra. All this is coming from the Vedas. The Brihad Aranyaka Upanishads will say, chant the holy name. All this knowledge that we are reading, Bhagavad Gita, as we just said, Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all the Vedas, Vedic knowledge. Srimad Bhagavatam, cream of the essence. Because we don't have much time in this Kali Yuga, our lives are very short.
Mm.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki